I'm showing you pictures of Wendy Walsh with her beautiful children. And Wendy, I think you would be perfect. You're a psychologist and co-host of The Doctor and mother of two beautiful biracial daughters to talk about, do we as a culture need to move beyond these narrow definitions of race and ethnicity, which so often don't apply to people?
Absolutely, Jane. You know, when you know somebody's race, you know about as much about them as their shoe size, because within every race, there's a wide spectrum of cultural differences. So even to assume that a Latino person or a black person or a white person has a specific socioeconomic status or has a particular way of talking or eating or singing or dancing is craziness. Because the truth is, race is as you know, all we know about someone is like their eye color or their hair color. What does that tell us about their heart and soul? So the truth is, we need to start talking about race in a different way. And we need to start talking about the subtleties of culture, and we need to start praising the differences in culture.
Absolutely. Cheryl Lee Ralph, actress and author of Redefining Diva. I mean, in my case, when I go to Egypt, I was in Egypt, they thought I was Egyptian. When I was in Greece, they thought I was Greek. I was in Italy, they thought I was Italian. I went to Spain, they thought I was Spanish. I was in India, they thought I was Indian. So how do you sit there as a 911 dispatch operator and ask people, okay, well, is he black, white, or Hispanic? First of all, in my case, I always say I'm Puerto Rican and Irish. Hispanic isn't a race. It's an ethnicity that covers, I don't know how many dozens of countries. And again, also with the African American community, how can we take these 3 or 4 labels and try to put the entire planet Earth into these 3 or 4 labels? Isn't that, in some sense, perpetuating racist thinking?
You know something, Jane? Thank you so much for saying that. But right about now, people look at people and think they know what they're looking at. You look at me. My Scottish grandfather doesn't show up on me. I look like a black American girl. When I look at Wendy's beautiful girls, I see black girls. That's how America works. What is your shade talks about what your existence is and what people think about you. When Zimmerman saw Trayvon, he saw black man. He saw threat. He saw something that he had to chase down and get rid of because obviously it was up to no good. You heard him. They're back in the neighborhood again. That boy lived there, and I dare say Trayvon was just as afraid of Zimmerman following him as Zimmerman was in what he thought Trayvon must have been up to. But we think a lot of things about people, and we don't see who they really are.
Boris, I know you're shaking your head. I want you to have a chance to weigh in.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think another thing that's important, I'm a father.
Yes.
And I want to know, what do I tell my son? What do I tell my young child? What do I tell my son that is walking home at night with the hood on? I told him not to talk to strangers, but yet, if a stranger approaches him now, I have to tell him to identify himself and not to get shot. What do I do? What do we tell our kids? We have to encourage each other to talk to our kids, to encourage discussion about this all the time, because that's the only way how we can take the myth away from it and how we can tackle this problem.